Is violence ever the answer? This is a question that gets tossed around a lot, especially by liberals who are more comfortable with polite disagreement than with shaking the foundations of power. But the truth is uncomfortable. Violence has always been a part of social change. Sometimes it comes from the oppressed fighting back, but more often it's the state, the ruling class, and fascists who wield it. The question isn't whether violence exists, it's already here. The real question is, how do we respond? And more importantly, what is the most effective form of protest? History gives us plenty of examples where nonviolent resistance shook the system to its core. The civil rights movement, for instance, with sit-ins, boycotts, and marches, forced the U.S. government to confront its brutal segregation system. And Gandhi's independence movement, which was non-violent, exposed British colonial brutality to the world. But to suggest all successful protests have been non-violent would be dishonest. Take, for instance, the Stonewall riots in 1969. Pride exists today because people refused to be peaceful when cops raided their bars. Or the Haitian Revolution, when enslaved Africans rose up, fought and defeated Napoleon's forces. Violence here wasn't mindless. It was targeted, defensive, and aimed at breaking systems that could not be reformed. But what's more effective? The answer to that question depends largely on the conditions. Peaceful protest can transform societies when there's room for reform. But when the system itself is built on violence, slavery, fascism, police brutality, or genocide, sometimes only force can crack it open. And when it comes to fighting fascism today, some of our best lessons include mass mobilization, like the civil rights movement, mutual aid and community defense, such as building networks that can care for people without relying on the state, exposing violence through media, art, and protest, and being ready to defend ourselves. Peaceful protest should be the default, but communities have the right to defend themselves against fascist attacks. And what does the data say? Nonviolent protest is generally more effective than violent protest. Political scientists Erica Chenoweth and Maria Stephen analyzed 323 major resistance campaigns between 1900 and 2006 in their book Why Civil Resistance Works. And what they found is that nonviolent campaigns succeeded about 53% of the time, while violent ones only succeeded about 26%. And the most important aspect was mass participation. The study showed that when just 3.5% of a population engage in sustained nonviolent protests, no government has withstood it long term. That threshold is small, but powerful. Movements that mobilize millions are hard to ignore. Violent protests can win short-term concessions, but they often backfire. They shrink public support, justify state repression, and fracture coalitions. So is violence ever the answer? Well, that question is complicated. But the research shows that the most effective form of protest, both historically and statistically, is sustained, large-scale, nonviolent civil resistance. Through mass participation across the classes, nonviolent discipline, sustained disruption, boycotts, strikes, and visibility through the media, the people can accomplish so much together. The ruling class only concedes when it fears it has no other option. So it's time we came together, worked together, and fought for a better future. What are your thoughts on the most effective ways to protest? Share them in the comments, and thanks for watching.